Hello, hello. Thank you for joining Sacred Para. Today is Saturday and it is August the 14th. I've lost kind of track of my days, but I do believe that it's the 14th. Thank you guys for being here. Today is raining. Hello, husband. How are you? My husband did the setup as usual, and I thank him so much. Anytime you guys see me on here, it's all from the wonderful collaboration of my husband and my sons putting it all together. Hello, it's a Mad World NYC. Hi, how are you, Danny? So I really want to tell him thank you so much for believing in me and for trusting me and for doing all of what he does when I'm on here doing the lives. He's always watching all 10 of our children, from changing diapers, making them food, everything. So I just want to give him a shout out because this would not be possible without him being my partner as well as my husband. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, my other thing is I want to start off this particular live. I want to kind of do something a little bit different. I dropped my pen. I thought I was going to grab it with my foot. I used to try to grab things with my toes and stuff. I can't do the same thing anymore. Things have changed. 10 kids later, you can't really pick up things with your toes like you used to. Anyways, I want to start things off with an affirmation. I really want to do things a little different with our lives that we do, because it's all about positive energy. Oh, I love you too. I love you too. He knows I love him. But it's all about positive energy, and that's why we do what we do with our dolls and our dioramas and our storylines. Regardless of how you do your pictures, if they're outdoor pictures, if they're fashion pictures, if they're impromptu pictures, you're doing it from this place of positive energy, as far as channeling positive energy to your dolls and your dolls channeling that positive energy to you. So I want to make sure that we keep everything on a positive note. And today's positive affirmation is keep on noticing beautiful things and you make an invisible contact. I'll say it again. Keep on noticing beautiful things and you make an invisible contact. So just wanting to share with you about the importance of seeing beautiful things in everything that you do. Yes, positive energy is good. And it's so important that we share that with each other and that we receive it. Don't just, give it, because you can get really, really drained that way. Make sure that you also receive it. So today we have some positive energy makers from my co-hosts. We have Gloria today. Say hi. She's saying hi to you guys. And her best friend, Audrey. Hello. So Audrey's going to be joining us today during our live. And we are going to talk about ideas. Ideas. I didn't come here empty-handed. Today we're going to talk about generating some good storyline ideas. And just to let you know, in case you this is your first time joining, I currently have the Sacred Para Presents Storyline Content Creation and Development Journal. This is for sale on Amazon, as well as if you want to buy it directly from me, you can. And then I also have the Sacred Para Presents Storyline Content Planner. I do understand that the words may be backwards because I'm on live, so I'm not able to flip the words around. But here goes the pictures right here. Here goes the books right here. Whenever I have it in picture form, I'm able to flip it around. Actually, when I take a picture, the words are on there correctly as far as for the visual eyesight. But for whatever reason during the videos, it doesn't do that. So Sacred Para Presents Storyline Content Planner and Storyline Content Creation and Development Journal. And I do have an update about these things as well. So stay tuned, stay connected to this particular live. So as I stated, we are going to talk about ideas. One of the things that I believe can be a stumbling block for us as writers and as storyline content creators are generating our ideas. So we may have a wonderful storyline already going on. Hello, how are you? I shall call her Mini-Me. Yes, how are you today? So we can have a really great storyline going on for a particular character that we have bonded to. But then we incorporate another character and we don't know what to do. It can be something as far as already having an established account or just beginning an account. And you're taking these pictures and you want to develop it into more, but you're not able to really figure out how to generate your actual story, how to develop it. So I want to talk to you guys about that today. And as you know, I did take notes. I'm very, very big about notes. So today, notes are going to be coming from www.writers.com. And as you can tell, I use my journal. I use my journal to put my ideas in. I use my journals during the live. So you will see these are actual writing. Because just in case someone's like, that's not her writing. These pages are blank. Okay? These are blank pages. These pages have writing on it. So just to let you know, writing is a really big thing to me. That's what I do for a living. So, and also I was a professional student for a long time, and note-taking was one of the things that I enjoyed doing. So these notes come from www.writers.com, and the concept that we're dealing with today is how to generate ideas. Question is, where do I begin? Okay, everything I want to write has already been written. That's one of the things that we oftentimes wrestle with. Everything that I want to write has already been written. Don't let that be a stumbling block to you, though, because the truth of the nature is that some of the best timeless classics that we have, that we adore, especially in our own generation, whatever generation that you were born in, the movie that you adore the most or the book that you adore the most has a storyline that was already implemented years before that. And so one of the things that was given as an example in this particular article was Shakespeare's Hamlet in comparison to, listen to this, Lion King. I really didn't notice that there was even a parallel until I read this article, and I was like, I can see that. So the parallel was, you have an orphan prince, right? So Hamlet is an orphan prince. Simba is an orphan prince. And they're both are avenging their father's death, right? And the death occurred because of the plots of a shady uncle. I was like, wow, that is so true. And I love Hamlet. I love anything Shakespeare. If you've been following my IG live videos, and if you haven't, go back, check it out. I talk about Shakespeare a whole lot. I love William Shakespeare. He's one of my favorite writers, playwrights, sonneters of all time, right? But one of the things that was really interesting to me, like I said, was that there was this parallel between Lion King and William Shakespeare. And I was like, wow, I can really see that. But here goes the thing. That's different. There's three things. The intended audience is different. Both of them were serving different audiences. That was their target. The storyline, or the storytelling, I should say, was different for both of them. And the writing styles were different. Completely different. I mean, even when we think about the language and the culture, we're dealing with animals over here and the way that they live and what's normal to them. And then on the other hand, when it comes to Shakespeare, we're dealing with Shakespearean language. We're dealing with like the Elizabethan language of that time. I've always associated the Lion King with the ancient story of Osiris, Horus, and Isis. Okay, I could definitely, ancient Egyptian, I can definitely go with you on that, because there is a parallel to that as well. So just because a story exists doesn't mean that you just say, you don't just pack up your ideas and just shove them into a drawer and never revisit it. Just because it exists doesn't mean that yours doesn't add some flavor to the content, because your audience may be different. Your storytelling will be different, as well as your writing style, right? So don't look at what you have and just say, well, it's already been done before, I'm not going to do it. It's cynical to think, but it is true. Any story that we write has probably already been written. But that shouldn't stop you from pursuing your storyline, okay? So as a general rule, your idea for a story should answer these following questions. If you want to write these down right now, you can. Or after this video, and I post it and I save it to my own storyline, you want to go ahead and grab that, click on it, click on the post, and be able to write these questions down. later, that's fine as well. So as a general rule, your ideas for a story should answer these following questions. 1, who is the main character? Who is the main character? 2, what does your main character want? What does your main character want? 3, what prevents the main character from getting what they want? What prevents your main character from getting what they want? And the rest is really up to you to decide with this in mind. So you want to consider different starting points for how you want to come up with your story ideas. And I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to put this to the side so I don't have so much going on in front of me. Hi, Aunt Edna. How are you? So you want to be able to consider that when you're writing. We're going to start off with 6 elements. All right. It looks like she's whispering at her, doesn't it? She's like, hey, girl. Nonetheless, you're going to start off with 6 elements when it comes to fiction writings. I'm going to share with you 7 concepts. This is the first one about starting off with the 6 elements of fiction writing. I'm going to share with you 7 concepts of how to be able to translate your ideas into a storyline. You can pick any of these, or you can pick something totally different that just defines you as you are. All right? Number 1, start with the 6 elements of fiction. You might do better by starting off with a character, but we'll get to that part. 1, the plot. The plot is the what happens of your story. And like I said, I'm going to group these into 7 according to what the article had. So the first one said plot, the what happens of your story. Number 2, characters. And we're still dealing with that first part, okay? But there's 6 elements in there. So the second element is whose lives are we watching? Whose lives are we watching? Are we watching the main character's life? Are we not watching maybe one of their children's lives? Are we watching a co-worker's lives? Are we watching their spouse's life? Whose lives are we watching? How many people are involved in it? All right. Setting. The setting is the world that the story is set in. Point of view. From whose eyes do we see the story unfold? Now, that right there, I'm going to take a quick little pause because that one right there could actually be multidimensional, in that the story could be seen to unfold from multi-characters' perspectives. And I say that because with my particular storyline, it's a desire of mine, and I'm hoping I'm achieving. That's why I'm kind of taking a pause, because I'm hoping I'm achieving it. My desire is to show the perspective of my main characters in their own storyline. So, example, with Gloria, right? We have Gloria, we have Raymond, and we have our controversial Mama Catherine, right? My desire is that I kind of get like a 50-50 split with my audience, where some people are like Team Gloria, but then there's some people who are Team Catherine, right? Because I want both of their perspectives to come out. I believe that, in my opinion, that I sound like the Apostle Paul. In my opinion, the best storylines are ones where you know that there's a protagonist. It's clearly defined. You know that there's an antagonist. That's clearly defined. But yet you find yourself siding with both. Like you can see the humanness in both to where you relate, right? So that's really where I'm coming from. I never want to make a character that's so, now I'm not saying that there's not people out there, reality-wise, that's so villainous that you can't relate to them. But my desire as a storyteller and as an indie author, as a content creator, hello, Mother, my desire is always to create these characters as multidimensional to where you can relate to both, right? So I do believe that when we're writing, if that is your perspective of things, creating a storyline where the points of view of your characters are being seen and heard, it kind of adds that extra punch as far as your audience being able to be captivated by your storytelling. Okay? So, point of view, from whose eyes do we see the story unfold? Theme, the deeper meaning of the story. So, a theme is the deeper meaning of the story or what the story represents. And then we have style, how you use the words to tell the story. It's so important. I know I talk about William Shakespeare a lot. I talk about Frida Kahlo. I'm totally inspired by Bob Ross. That's why I put at the end of each one of these lives in the caption, I always say, anyone can write, because he always said anyone can paint, right? So I'm totally inspired by him. I have very warm feelings of childhood when I think about Bob Ross. But one of the other things that I would like to point out is Zora Neale Hurston. Yes, if no one's heard of her, look her up. Zora Neale Hurston, a very infamous writer of the Roaring Twenties era. And, you have books like Their Eyes Were Watching God. Oh, goodness. That was like one of my favorite ones. I'm thinking of another one with the gourd. I can't think of the full title because it's been so long since I've actually sat down and read one of her books. But growing up, loved me some Zora Neale Hurston, right? And she was very big about the Southern dialect. So much so that she influenced a lot of my early writing whenever it came to expressing what my character was saying, but having them to say it in a Southern dialect. If you'll notice with the dialogue of, like in the most recent post today, of Gloria, and she's talking to her mother, and you have the hairstylist, and they're talking, and they're comfortable with each other. So when we're comfortable with each other, we use a more familiar voice. We're not going to use our voice of professionalism. We're going to use a voice that we would use at home, correct? So one of the things that I have learned to do by my inspiration of Zora Neale Hurston is that I will put getting instead of getting. Go back and look at my posts. I know someone was like, what do you mean? Getting. I'll put Gettin with an apostrophe versus putting Getting. Now we know that the proper way of saying it is with the G, getting. But sometimes when we're at home or with people who we feel familiar with, who we're comfortable with, we'll say, getting. I'm getting something to drink. I'm going to be getting my hair done today. And I don't care what race you are, what color you are, what ethnicity you are. All of us have a language that we share with those that we're comfortable with, compared to the language that we use in public that's more of our professional language, right? So you want to know what style you're writing in. Are you writing in a foreign language? Are you writing in English? Are you writing in a language that has more slang? I have Kai, like I've said during my previous post. He's a surfer boy. His language is different. So he's going to talk in ways that are unfamiliar to me because I'm not a surfer, and it's maybe unfamiliar to other people who aren't a surfer. But for someone, even if it's just one person, hi Donna's doll eyes, even if it's just one person who's a surfer, that language is going to be familiar to them. So what did I have to do? As a content writer, as a storyline developer, as someone who's part of the Doustagram storyline community, I had to research. So that's important. If you go for a style that is also bound by a culture, study it, research it, learn as much as you can. If you're not living it daily, it may be kind of hard to find all the stuff about it, but find enough to where you're not in error with what you're saying. Okay? So style, how you use the words to tell the story. As I stated, you might want to do this by starting off with the character. If you have a character in your mind, then all these other elements will develop around it, correct? Your plot will develop, your setting will develop, your point of view will develop, your theme and your style will develop around the character. From there, you can think about what's getting in the way of this character's success and craft the plot and world around them. Or you can start with the setting. So basically, any of these points that I listed, plot, character, setting, point of view, theme, and style, you can actually start with to begin your storyline. But you can start with the setting. You can create the world that you want to write in, whether that world is realistic, magical, or somewhere off Earth entirely, okay? And then you can think of the limitations of this world. Now, if you have created something that's totally different, almost like the movie Avatar, one of our family's favorite movies. We're excited about the next one. Hi, my little curvy world. We are definitely excited about number 2. But nonetheless, that was a world that was completely magical. It was something that, I'm trying to remember what his name is. Cameron? Hi! I believe Cameron had stated, and I'm saying his last name because I can't remember his first one, but he had stated that that world developed from a dream that his mother had. His mother had dreamt of a tall blue woman. And from there, it just exploded into what we see with Avatar, the movie, that actually took, I do believe, 15 or 20 years to develop because he had to wait for the technology. So some of the things that we dream up right now, it may be something that we're not able to implement at the time, maybe because of finances or maybe because of technology. And that's when this comes in handy right here. This journal. You can write your ideas in here, and even if you're not able to pursue it right then with your dolls, you can go back to it when you have all the necessary material. So not to sit up here and like throw it in your face, but having a journal is so important as far as organizing your ideas, writing down things that you want to do with your dolls, with your main character, with other characters in the story. And if you don't have all the materials for it, versus losing the idea, right? Because ideas are liquid gold, or I should say they're gas gold, because you don't really touch them or anything. They're imaginative gold. Instead of losing that idea, you write it down in your journal, and then you come back to it when you have all the materials and resources needed. Okay, so that's what he did with the movie Avatar. Huge success. We can all look at it and say, well, that's been done before. Doesn't matter because it made him millions of dollars. He didn't copy it. He was inspired to pursue that particular world and create what he did that we all looked at and saw and we were amazed at, right? So you're going to create limitations. Now, if you're creating a world that's non-existent, you can create any kind of limitations you want. You can create language that you want. That's what they did with Avatar. They created their own language. They created their own limitations. Now, how did they create the limitations, we may think? Because it's a world that doesn't exist, Pandora. Yes, I told you we like the movie. Pandora doesn't really exist that we know of, right? And these tall blue people, they don't really exist that we know of. But how did they create these limitations? So the next step when you do this is to then think of the limitations of this world and how it both helps and hurts its people. From there, you can craft your characters and your plot. You can think of what's our limitations here on our own planet. What's our limitations in our own country? What's our limitation in our own states, in our own counties, in our own towns, wherever you live at? You look at the nature of humans, right? And you can say, what is our greatest limitation? Well, one of our greatest limitations, guys, is being able to see people as our equal, right? There's always this hierarchy, this, you're a servant, you're a slave, you're not as good as me, I'm better. So that right there could already create an issue, socioeconomic. If you have any kind of means of trade or money that's exchanged, well, now we have to deal with social economics, right? Because now we have status, we have social status, and we have finances. So that's just a general concept of the battle of humanness, right? But if you're dealing with something that's even more animalistic, well, then look at the Animal Channel, and you'll see how animals act and behave and how they create this separatism within their own pride and tribes. So you want to look at that as far as, how do I make my characters have a limitation or have some type of struggle or some type of challenge where you can build that hierarchy, that climax, I should say that arc right there, right? or you have that climax. So you want to be able to look at that. And like I said, you can start with any of these 6 elements. This is part number 1. I know it extended a little bit longer than what we thought, but part number 1, you can look at your plot, your characters, your setting, point of view, theme, and style. An example that they gave was with Toni Morrison's novel Jazz. I'm going to take a little break here. Sorry that my throat was getting dry. But with Toni Morrison's novel Jazz, she said that she was so inspired by jazz music, the highs and lows of it, that she wanted to create a book that would fit for the genre of jazz. So she herself was inspired by a genre of music to create a book that had highs and lows just like jazz music. You can be inspired by anything, really, right? Another thing they stated was to start with a story you want to read. Start with a story that you want to read. Again, stating something that Toni Morrison had stated, I should say quoting something that Toni Morrison had stated, was if there's a book, if there is a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. I'll say it one more time. If there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, then you must write it. If there's a storyline that you can think of when it comes to dolls, like you may be reading someone's storyline right now. It could even be my storyline, okay? And you look at it and you say, this is good. I like it. I'll give myself a pat on the back. Nothing's wrong with that. This is good. I like it. But it's missing this element. Or I wish I saw this character. Or why didn't she develop a character that does this or that works here? You do it. If you have that unction inside of you, instead of saying, well, I don't want to write it because she would think I was copying, you write it, because whatever you do is going to include your experiences and what makes you you, the unique person that you are. So you may be inspired by something that I have or a storyline that someone else has, but whatever you write is not going to be the same because it's going to be influenced. It definitely shouldn't be the same because then that would be plagiarism and you won't be able to have as much fun. What fun is it writing what someone else is doing exactly? Why don't we get inspired, right? See what's probably in your mind missing from my storyline and write your own. And you would be shocked to see what you develop. You would be shocked. I remember there was a line from TLC. I don't know how many people listen to TLC. And I'm not talking about the channel. I'm talking about the music group with T-Boz, Left Eye, and Chili. Yes! Now, if you listen to them in the 90s, right? When they first had their album, Ooh, on a TLC tip, right? They had a line in one of their songs, and Left Eye is rapping it, and she said that there was a dance move that she liked, and so she still yells it. Well, the reality of it is, and I'm a former dancer. I used to do dance. I love it, and I still love it. But things are a little bit different as far as me being able to dance because of time-wise. And, you know, my life is different now, so I don't go out to the club anymore. And I used to be a dance instructor. This is like a little offline, but I used to be a dance instructor. I used to teach liturgical dance. And it's something that I definitely want to do with my kids. But just haven't really been able to do it because we have so much going on. I used to teach them dance a couple years ago. So hopefully things will go back to that. But I admire dance because dance in itself is an art. So I'll bring this back again to 360, what we're doing right now. What we're doing with our dolls is an art. Yes, look at the camera, Audrey. There we go, girl. All right, so what we're doing right here is an art, right? I'm pretty sure if you could raise your hand, you would agree with me. This is an art. But with dance, a lot of times, this is no offense to any dancers, a lot of times the moves that you do and that I do, that we do, has been done before. Even the chest bump. Yes, it's been done before. It's hard for us to admit that though, right? Because we want to feel like we're the originator, but it's been done before. Even if you're a crumper, it's been done before. But how you do it, your style, your passion, your experiences is what makes it special. That's what makes it different. So if you see a storyline and you go, oh, I really do like that. But I feel like it needs to have this kind of character. I feel like it needs to have this kind of controversy. Or I feel like it shouldn't be any controversy. You write it. Just like Toni Morrison said, you write it. And it's not being mean, sarcastic, or rude. It should actually encourage and inspire you to know you can write it. Anyone can write. Right? Okay. Number 3. I have to take another sip. I'll probably be doing this throughout the live, okay? Okay. Modify a story that already exists. There was like a nudge. I just talked to you guys about that. Modifying a story that already exists. You can start a story from literature that already exists. Shakespeare, Othello. Oh, one of my favorites. You guys probably heard me when I was on here with Panic Pixie. Shout out to Panic Pixie. And we literally talked about, hello to everyone who joined, talked about William Shakespeare and Othello. Because although I love Othello as a main character, I have a certain like connection maybe with Iago because he was so well developed. And it's not that Othello was not well developed, because he was. I don't want the ghost of William Shakespeare coming after me. He was well developed, William Shakespeare. You did a great job. But Iago was such a sinister character. And I'm going to use this word again, multidimensional. He had so many different aspects about himself that picked up on the human nature of who we are, to where he was relatable. He was Loki before Loki, right? So right there, I was like, there's no other. I mean, William Shakespeare's the one who created it, but I was shocked to learn William Shakespeare himself, the originator, was inspired. They said that he was actually inspired by a poem called The Moorish Captain. He even used the same names, and he borrowed the themes of love and vengeance from that poem. The poem called The Moorish Captain. For anybody who has any familiarity with William Shakespeare and Othello, then you would know that Othello himself was a black Moor. And that was completely unheard of during that time. In fact, Moor implied black, which was so deep to have a main character that was black. But that's a whole nother lesson for a different day. As my dad used to say, we'll talk about that on another day. But the thing of it is that he took his inspiration from this poem, created this full-length play that till this day we still enact. We have a park here called Central Park, and every summer we have the Shakespeare theater group that goes out there, and for free you can watch all the different Shakespeare plays that they're offering. So sometimes they'll offer one play for the entire summer, well, about 2 months out of the month and a half of the summer, a month and a half. Or they'll show 2 different plays, They'll do 2 different plays during the summer. And so you can go and see those and sit on the lawn and watch them enact these plays. So these plays are still relevant. They're still alive. They're alive where I'm living. They're alive where you're at. I'm sure that you have some type of theater group where you're at that also does Othello and all the other William Shakespeare plays. Where would we be had William Shakespeare not been inspired by that particular poem to write a play? So I say again, just because it exists doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. Because you never know what awesome and amazing classic that you could be developing right now. Okay? So he borrowed those themes of love and vengeance. He created his own. And we really call this kind of modification of ideas. We call that fan fiction, right? So you're a fan of the work, and then you develop a fiction story or storyline based off of the work that you're inspired by. The key thing is, because I know how much I don't like plagiarism. I talk about it a whole lot. I'm really against plagiarism. I've never been a fan of it. I feel like it's the worst way of showcasing who you are. It's the worst way of showcasing your talent. I believe each and every person who's on here and part of our community, you're freaking amazing. You're talented. There's no reason at all to have to steal someone's work when there's this story that lives in you. Even if you're doing fashion, even if you're doing impromptu pictures, even if you're doing outdoor pictures, even if you're doing storyline pictures, even whatever it is that you're posting on here, You're amazing. You're fantastic. And there's a story that lives in you with each and every photo and post that you put on here. Why take from someone else? You're limiting yourself. Put on here the content that matters to you, right? I'm against plagiarism. So I'm not at all being like, hey, you see something you like, just steal it. No, you didn't hear that from Sacred Para. What you're hearing is about fan fiction. That if you are inspired by someone's work or craft, make it your own. Change your characters. Develop new story ideas. Not old ones, not past ones, not plagiarizing. New ideas based off of your inspiration. Andre Dumas, he's another one of my most favorite authors. Okay, he did The Count of Monte Cristo. He did The Three Musketeers. He did a lot of other works as well. He had a pretty controversial personal life, but amazing author. Very much liked him. I told my husband, and I can share this. I know he's online. I can share this. I was like, you are so lucky. You're so blessed that we were born in this time and era, because I'm telling you, you would have had a hustle if we would have been born during the era of like William Shakespeare and Andre Dumas, because I had like this huge crush on these guys. Although they were dead, growing up, I was just like, oh my God, like if I could meet them. Because I was so inspired by their works of art. So I was like, you would have kind of a hard time. But, you know, lucky for him, they were already deceased. Andre Dumas, he wrote The Three Musketeers literally based off of a French Musketeers novel, off of his book. And I want to say the title, but I don't know French, and I don't want to say it wrong. It was Memoirs de Monsieur d'Argentan. I know I should know that Musketeer's name, right? Artaganin. I think that's how you say his name. So he was one of the Musketeers. And then, of course, he developed this whole body of works based off of that one memoir. And then you have William Golding, who wrote Lord of the Flies, who at times, honestly, I have to tell my children that they act like. I don't even want to talk about kids right now. I love my babies. They are so amazing. But kids themselves, if they were led to self-govern, the book Lord of the Flies would be so very true. Just honestly, it would be so very true. And I've told them that before. I'm like, you're not allowed to read that book, because that book is literally banned in our house right now. Like maybe when they actually hit middle school, high school age, then we'll do that. I have a middle schooler right now. We've been blessed with a middle schooler, but he's still not, like I think I read that book in 8th grade, so he's not 8th grade level to read it. But I'm like, you guys aren't allowed to read that, because I don't want them picking up any like tips and strategies of how to flip the house upside down. And I know they're watching this right now, and they're probably like, Mom, I can't believe you actually said that. But I'm serious. That book was pretty deep. Anybody who read the book, saw the movie, the book, of course, is more detailed. Anytime we talk about storylines that are written, then they're going to be more detailed. Imagine what you write right now going to the screen. It's possible. Don't deny yourself that, okay? Because we're talking about positive energy. Don't deny yourself the privilege and the opportunity of knowing that what you're writing right now for Instagram could end up going to the big screen on TV, right? Or movies. It's very, very possible. So, of course, the book was more detailed than what the movie had, but nonetheless, it still captured the essence of Lord of the Flies. Okay, so we're talking about a timeless classic that was actually inspired. The author, William Golding, was inspired after reading the children's book, The Coral Island. What? The Coral Island. So he himself was inspired to write The Lord of the Flies after reading the book Coral's Island. And coral is C-O-R-A-L, just like the coral that's in the water. And I say that because there's someone who's bound to be like, hey, I want to go ahead and read it. So if you're afraid to call it fan fiction, think of it this way. You're thinking it of a way of improving a story you already love. So you read my storyline, Sacred Para, and you're like, I love it. But it's missing something. Don't be afraid to write it. Write it from your own experiences. Make it your own. Change the characters and develop new story ideas. You might just write the next classic. Okay? Another concept Number 4, start with creative writing prompts, okay? So chances are you've been told to use writing prompts, but how to use the writing prompts is the question. The best way to use a writing prompt is to free write from the story idea, then edit from there, all right? So I remember when I was in school, they had said, and I think this was actually middle school, definitely high school, where they would say to just put your pencil on the paper and write. Even if you were using a pen. By high school, you could use a pen. You just had to scratch it out. But you would just write. Don't think about it. Write. And that's what I try to tell my children, especially my oldest, because he has all kind of concepts, but then he'll kind of like want to, and I know you're watching this right now, baby, but he'll want to edit it as he writes it. Just write it. Don't worry about the editing part. Just write it out and then go back and edit it. Write all the ideas out. Get it out of you. Then once when you get it out, you can then structure it. Don't think about structure while you're writing it, because then you can have so many things going on that it almost becomes like a traffic jam or congestion on the freeway of your mind. It can literally cause an accident. Yeah, exactly. She said, I'm the same way. Yes. You want to go ahead and write it all out. Then once when you have it written and you have all the concept out of you, regardless if it has to do with characters or settings, events, whatever it is, get it all out. Dialogue and everything. I don't care if it's misspelled. This is not the time to go, how do you spell dialogue? Because that's a really, like, does it have that E at the end or what? I sometimes mess up on the word dialogue. So nonetheless, it's not the time to try to go and get the dictionary, because then the rest of the idea can actually fly away. Okay, ideas are like birds. You don't want it to fly away. You got to grab that thing, write it down, and then after it's all written down, like say in your journal, okay? So after you have it written right there, let the bird go. Then you go back to see what you wrote, and you're going to then structure it and edit, okay? Try your best not to do it while you're writing it, because you can lose your idea. We don't want that. You have $1 million ideas. And it's not just about the money. It's about the factor being that what's in you is pouring out so that you can be healed and have fun. And I mean, if it does get on big screen, if it gets on TV, Lifetime, whatever, and I'm not being supported or sponsored by Lifetime, but I just brought them up. But if it does get picked up, awesome. If it doesn't, awesome. You're doing something that matters to you. It's priceless. That's why I say $1 million. It's priceless. Enjoy it. So, for example, let's say that you're given a prompt. Write a story about a psychiatrist. This is in the article. I'm reading it right now. If you choose to use this prompt but don't know where to begin, do a time-free write where you free associate all of your ideas onto the page. Write for 5 minutes about what the word psychic means to you and what you think of. And then give another 5 minutes to the word psychiatrist. Then comb through your free write and let your journaling inspire some really great story ideas. Perhaps you wrote down something about a crystal ball in a psychiatrist's office, or you imagine a circus tent filled with prescriptions. Let your great ideas unfold naturally, then write from there. Now, this particular site, when you go on www.writers.com, I think I told you, whatever it was that I told you in the very beginning of this live, I'll go back and look. Writers.com. They also have 24 exercises that you can experience and experiment with as far as writing with a writer's prompt. And one of the other things is Instagram themselves have writer prompts. If you got a chance to see my post today, and if you didn't, go back and look. There's actually a part on there in which Mama Catherine, in conversation with Gloria, states that she is having a self-care day. So I put hashtag self-care. Hi, my froggy stuff. So I put self-care day, right? I put a little hashtag self-care day. I did that, and I put, hi, how are you, Unicorn Moon 2020? I did that because one of the writer prompts from Nerdy Mom, I do believe, Nerdy Book Mom, I put her information on that post. she actually had a prompt today. And for the whole month of August, she has different prompts. If you want to join it, you can. Instagram themselves, if you're part of the doll community, especially writing community, art community, there's going to be writing prompts. So if you're lost on an idea and you're just like, I don't know where to begin, you can actually begin to tell your storyline using the prompts available around you in our community, because there's plenty of it. The beautiful thing was May, for example. May, whole month was mermaid, right? So that whole theme was there, and there was all these different writing prompts. And I'm going to give her a shout out. The Dalai Lama, excellent. I said next year I'm going to join a lot more. I think I only did about 2 or 3 posts for it this year, which was way better than what I did last year, because I had just joined the community last year when the mermaid theme had been shown, and I wasn't able to join at all, just because of time restrictions, and I didn't know what all was required. But now that I've gotten more comfortable with the community and understanding how things flow, I'm like, hey, I can do these things and be able to experiment within myself on how to really make a storyline that fits for mermaid. Okay. So that was just an enjoyable time for me to be able to do and to be able to extend myself, right? But there's prompts available to you. So you're wondering, how do I make the storyline? How do I make it work? Just know you can do it. There's prompts on so many different platforms that you can choose from to be able to develop your storyline. So don't neglect the prompts. But also on this website, like I said, www.writers.com, they have 24 exercises that you can do to get you kind of acclimated to being able to write using the prompts. Number 5, find inspiration in wordplay. Sometimes words themselves inspire us. Drawing creativity from puns, alliterations, and other things can create the most unique and interesting stories, okay? For example, you can look at phrases like psychiatrist, right? Start with the word psych, yet they have vastly different meanings. What you can do is just look at psychiatrists as an academics, whereas psychics are mystics. What story can you find in the duality of science versus magic? Right? Are they more similar than what we realize? And you're going to find moments of tension and ambiguity in the language. And you're just going to go from there. So using words to inspire you to be able to write. Okay? Let yourself experience boredom is number 6. Let yourself experience boredom. How many people like being bored? None of us. I was waiting to see if anybody was saying, none of us want to be bored. We're always constantly trying to find ways to busy ourselves, right? And our society basically requires us to busy ourselves. Hi, Fairy of Wind 2001. But our society encourages us to stay busy to the point where you're just like so tired, right? You're just like, I'm so tired. And you go to bed and you're just so exhausted. Like for me, of course, we got our 10 kiddos, so we stay pretty much busy all day. But even if you don't have 10 kiddos to chase after, you have something going on in your life that requires your full attention, or several different things that's, requiring your full attention, to the point where when you lay down in that bed and you blink, you're asleep. That's me. Like, I blink and I'm just like I'm just what do I tell my husband? I have oh goodness, narcolepsy or something. And it's not like on a bad level as far as needing prescription, medicine or anything like that. It's just that by the end of the day, I'm so tired that when I want to just relax, watch TV, or just chill in the bed for a minute, I blink and it's the middle of the night or early in the morning and I have to pump in order to feed the baby, right? Or, it's something going on where I'm like, okay, I'm up. But I didn't realize I missed the whole show. In fact, it's become quite common. And I'm sure it's going to be a joke when my kids get older. But they'll tell me, they're like, oh yeah, Mom, we watched Ghost Brothers, but you were asleep. Or some movie will come on and I'm like, I don't remember this. And they're like, yeah, we watched it but you fell asleep. I'm like, oh man, like I missed the whole thing. It's not fair. But nonetheless, it's because I'm so exhausted, right? I'm just like blinking. I'm out. Boredom. There's nothing wrong with boredom. It's actually a beautiful thing, right? For us as creatives. It's something that we need to embrace more often because we're constantly looking for external stimuli. We're constantly looking to be on our phones, which isn't such a bad thing when you're part of the Instagram community. Wouldn't you agree? Like, I want you on the phone right now during this live. But we're constantly looking for external stimuli. We're looking for our phones. We're looking for TV. We're looking for books to read, magazines to read. We're looking to, receive stimulation from our partners, from our spouses, our significant other. And I don't mean that in like an R-rated way. I just mean like, even if it's just conversation, we're looking to be entertained by someone else versus embracing boredom. Why do I say that? The brain is understimulated when we're bored. And if we actually allowed ourselves to embrace that understimulation, then we would be able to embrace and produce the stories that live within us. We'd be able to embrace and produce the ideas. So we would be able to produce the things that's in us if we allowed ourselves to be bored at times. So there's nothing wrong with that. We need to allow ourselves to have self-stimulation again. I don't mean that in an R-rated way. Okay? It's not in an R-rated way. Hello, Bridget. How are you? That is not made or made to seem in an R-rated way. But we need to allow ourselves to have self-stimulation so we can be actually entertained by our ideas to be able to write a storyline that goes beyond just being surface talk. Okay? And we don't turn towards the external stimuli. Our brains produce their own stories, and the ideas that we need are stimulated and entertained. So thusly, boredom actually encourages creativity. And if we let our minds wander without external distractions, we might come across a great story idea that needs to be written. So you allow yourself to be entertained by yourself, then you may be able to create a storyline that becomes a classic. What? Yes, a classic. Even if it's just a classic to you. But let's say that you're, let's bring this all the way back to the Instagram community. Let's say that I'm working with Audrey, right? Because I do a lot of different things with Gloria. And that's my co-host. Say, hey, girl. Hey. I love me some Gloria. I told you guys before, Gloria is such a main fixture in our household that my 3-year-old daughter, when she sees me pull Gloria out, she's like, oh, there goes Gloria. Like she's part of our family, literally. And Gloria knows it. Yes, she does. But Audrey, I don't really get a chance to use as much, and I do really have a goal in this 2021 year, especially 2022, to develop her storyline even more because she is the best friend of Gloria, and I don't want her just like hanging there as like a fixture. I want her to have her own story, right? Nonetheless, one of the things that I have learned with her is that I need more time and space to develop her story because she has a very good story, but I'm still learning who she is, right? And there's some things that we do know. She's a divorcee, she's an attorney, she has an older kid that's in college named Kenny, and he's actually an invisible character. And if you want to know what an invisible character is, go back to one of the previous lives. I think it was like the 3rd live that we did on Sacred Paris page, that I did on Sacred Paris page. I say we because I was actually in conversation with another Instagram queen, and we talked about the invisible character. So if you have any questions about what an invisible character is, go back and reference that IG live. But she does have a son named Kenny. He is an invisible character. She just hooked up with Benjamin, and I want to be able to explore their story more. So don't allow boredom to stop you. Allow that to be something that you use, and let's go back to that word, as positive energy, okay? Use it as positive energy to develop something great. And number 7, start from real life. Start from real life. Our last tip is to start from real life experiences. Many stories, including stories of fantasy and sci-fi, create convincing worlds because they're modeled after real life. You don't need to write about your personal experiences themselves, but you can draw from them to write poignant fiction. You can draw from them to write exceptional and extraordinary storylines for your dolls. You didn't go through what you're going through for nothing. Use it. Even if it was the worst of the worst. Allow it to be material that allows you to feel healed. When we get on here and we're on this platform, we're using our dolls and we're creating these storylines. We're not just doing them for nothing. It's not just to entertain the audience and the masses. It's also something that allows us to be able to release what we're feeling, right? Just like that movie, which I haven't seen yet. I'm pretty sure that some of my sister queens are going to get mad at me, but I haven't seen Waiting to Excel. The most that I know of it is from trailers, and I just saw like a little tiny bit of it. And my kids were still kind of young, and it took me that long to even see that little tiny bit. That movie came out years ago, right? Years ago. I feel so horrible for even admitting it. And then when I finally did sit down, I was like, I'm gonna watch this movie. My kids were young enough to still be like impressionable, to where I was like, I don't really know if I should be watching this in front of them. And so I didn't watch it, and I really need to probably write that down right now. I am. Watch movie Waiting to Excel. Like, why haven't I watched it? It's a classic. Especially, it's like the classic chick flick. I didn't really get into chick flicks until I got married. That's like the truth of the nature. I was not a chick flick person. I got married. All of a sudden, chick flicks are a go. So I'm going to watch it. Why do I bring it up? When we are making our storylines for our dolls, whatever storyline that we choose to use as based from our real life, it gives us the opportunity to... I know, right? She put the little looking eyes on there with the laughing. Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to work on that. Like I said, I gave myself a little note. I was serious. I really did. I gave myself a note. Watch movie Waiting to Excel. Because if I don't write it down as a note, I promise you, I will step away from this live, go downstairs, start getting busy with the 10 kids, and be like, it's gone. It is gone. And I'll be like, what movie was I talking about watching? Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Let's go upstairs and watch some Rugrats. yeah, let's watch some Chipmunks. I think that was the movie I was talking about. When you have kids, especially the number that we have, it's like cartoons all day, or, some type of G-rated PG movie that relates to them. So it's real easy to forget stuff that you want to watch. So I got myself a note to watch it. But the point of it is, when we make our storylines, we write our storylines, it gives us an opportunity to breathe. And that's really what therapy is about. And as you guys know, I have a background when it comes to therapy. But every therapist needs a therapist. That's just real talk. Every therapist has their own personal therapist. And I don't care if it's your spouse, your partner, or an actual professional therapist. You have someone that you are releasing to. Because we all need that. And our dolls service that. Don't fight yourself on it. If you have something that's inside of you and you want to release it into a storyline using your dolls, do it. It may feel kind of uncomfortable at first, but the more that you do it, the easier it will become. You would be shocked how much of the storyline and storylines that I use for my characters that actually comes from personal experiences. And why not? I have this material in front of me. I've gone through these things. Why not use it in a way that allows me to be able to breathe? Okay. Now, in the article, going back to it, it says, for example, Stephen King, The Shining, one of my favorites. I don't know about you, but it's one of my favorites. After staying in a notoriously haunted hotel that left him with nightmares, we see the main character, while being in that hotel, experience nightmares. They were inspired by the Hotel of the Shining, which is arguably a character within the novel itself. right? You can also pull from popular news and events. Agatha Christie wrote her novel Murder on the Orient Express after reading about the kidnap and murder of Charles Lindbergh's son. Finally, you can pull from historical events. You can even write from historical fiction. We can see this with the novel Half of a Yellow Sun, which explores the rise and fall of Biafra, a short-lived African nation in the late 1960s. And as Mark Twain once said, truth is stranger than fiction. Start from real life and see where your story goes from there, where your story ideas go from there. So you also, lastly, want to look at being able to collaborate with a writing community. If you have a writing community like Dowstagram, don't feel ashamed to be able to reach out to people that you trust in the Dowstagram community. And I stress the word again, that you trust, that you know won't steal your ideas. You don't want to reach out to someone and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And then next thing you know, you see that being played out on their page. My froggy stuff. I am at 11 years of doll therapy. Hey, there we go. I feel you on there. I feel you on there. And it does. It helps out so much. I'm glad that you said that. It helps out so much to be able to express yourself. I cannot tell you how freeing it is. Since I've joined the doll community, which was last year, and I'm sorry I can't give the exact date. Like, I have to go all the way back through my timeline to see the exact date. But since I started and joined in the Dowstagram community and developed these key friendships and relationships and in many ways, family members through Instagram, it has really helped me in my process to become more bold and being able to write what's real with me. Although I am an indie author, that's what I do, that's what I've been. I've been able to write things that were more true to me. It was harder to do it on this public platform. Does that make sense? It's easy to write in a book what my character's going through and put their experiences in a book that may be purchased and may not be purchased, but nonetheless is in the pages of the book, versus actually creating a post that everyone can see and using the material of life on there. Because I'm thinking in my mind, like, oh, someone's probably going to know what that means. They're going to know certain aspects of myself. And when they read this, they're going to know about me. So that's why I say it's not easy. It's not easy to post about your personal experiences or even the experiences of someone that you know. Like I said, when it comes to my character Courtney and my storyline, she was basically left. She was abandoned by her mom, Mama Catherine. Mama Catherine just split and she left her with Curtis. And more of that's going to come out. But nonetheless, she left her with Curtis and she took the two other kids, Brenda and Gloria. Of course, Courtney feels like, why? Why did this happen? As I stated in my last live, that story is true. It comes literally from a friend of mine that I grew up with from second grade on. She was my best friend. She was my sister. We've kind of parted ways now, and not on a bad tip. It's just that we kind of grew apart. Our life went in different directions. But she was always hurt for the longest time, years, because her mom left her as an infant in the care of her dad, and she took the 4 other kids. And it was like, why would she do that? And I remember even as a kid, we were in elementary together. I would cry with her. Middle school, I would cry with her. High school, college, I was going to family reunions with her, and her mom would be there. And you could tell they had like a distant relationship, and she was trying her best to still have this relationship with her mom, but yet deep down inside, it was just this, why did you leave me? And I didn't realize how much that it bothered me. I knew it bothered me, but I didn't know how much it bothered me until writing the storylines for the dolls. It was like, I need to get this out. Because although it was her personal experience, I had interwoven into that personal experience by being her best friend. So it hurt me. Not on the same deep level for her, because that's her life story. Hello, how are you? Living our best doll life. But it still hurt me. So it was something that I needed to release. So by writing it down, I feel more free. But this is a freedom that you won't really know and understand until you write it. Write it. It is your therapy. It's just like my froggy stuff said. I am at 11 years of Dell therapy. So very true. So I want to share with you guys. This is a little bit of a little segue, but still dealing with ideas for your storyline. I want to talk to you guys about character development. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time, but last week I shared with you that I had a little secret that was in the development, and I was going to wait before I told you. On Amazon, there is now a book that is called Sacred Para Presents Character Origin Journal, COJ. COJ. So if you ever hear me on here and I'm like, grab your COJ, and I'm actually in the process of getting my COJ here to the house. Although I wrote it, I still got to wait for it to be delivered. It's called Character Origin Journal. In this journal, you're going to be able to have of course, you're going to have the lines to write, correct? I'm hoping you can see that. You're going to have lines to write. This is the storyline creation journal. But this journal is dedicated solely to your characters. There's multiple pages, so it doesn't matter if you have one character that you're trying to develop, which I hope you don't just have one, but if you do, you do. Or if you have 50 characters, it's enough space and enough documentation in that book for you to be able to do that. So you're going to put things on there like your character's name, your character's age, where they were born, where their educational level is, what their culture is. All of these are provided on lines that you're going to be able to write that information on. I'm not going to give you everything because you want to be able to have that journal to be able to write your character. Why is this important? It's important because we can think of names easy. I think any of us as creatives can think of names. In my own journal, I have written down names: Parker, Cree, Joseph, just all these different names. Names I don't really think is as hard for us to come up with. Now, sometimes we may be stuck between a name, or we may have a pretty faced gal or a handsome dude, and we're like, I don't know what the name of, will you help me? So I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but for the most part, as creatives, and we're doing storyline, we don't have as much of an issue with that. But developing their story can be a little hard. We can be like, okay, Audrey's a lawyer and she's a divorcee. She has an older kid. But I don't know anything else about her. What's her visions? What's her goals? What's her routine in the morning? Does she have a night routine? I don't know. And these are questions that I may not even thought of. And that's what's inside the COJ, your Character Origin Journal, which again, I said you can purchase that on Amazon. You can purchase it from me direct. But this is there to help us develop our characters. It can go for your storyline if you're an indie author like myself, or an author, on a bigger level, or whatever it is that you do. You'll be able to write those characters and develop them in a more full degree. You give them more of a wholeness. So now we don't just have a name and their occupation and knowing if they're married or not, but now we're able to know who the character is in and out. Because even if I never do bring up that she likes to get up at 6 a.m. and eat a bagel with some wine, and a glass of wine in the morning, even if I never bring that up, if I as the creator know that about her, then it's going to be presented to you with confidence in the storyline. Does that make sense? Even if you never bring up all the nuances and small details about the character, it's just about you feeling comfortable as the author. Hi, Magnum 8+2. It's about you feeling comfortable as the author when you write the story, when you write about the character. So that's what this new journal is about. And again, it's called Character Origin Journal. It's one of the Sacred Para Presents Character Origin Journal. I call it a COJ. I love acronyms. Hi, thank you. I'm so sweet of you. But I love using acronyms. It's, the way of life, right? And it's got all different kinds of things for you to think about, different prompts. I think that's the word that we're looking for. Different prompts for you to be able to develop your character and have your character be more full, more whole, so that when you write on a character is literally like your best friend, or better yet, a portion of yourself that you are conveying to your audience. Because quite honestly, each and every character that you put out here in your posts is literally a portion of who you are. So I do want to let you know that the COJ, the Character Origin Development Journal, is available right now on Amazon, as well as the pocket size journal that you can put in your purse, you can put in your backpack, you can slip in your back pocket, is available online as well. It's available on Amazon. If you want to get that from me, you can. It is a 4.5 by 6, so it will fit perfectly inside of your purse or your backpack, anything of that nature. Okay? And I am coming to a wrap on my live. I thank you guys for being with me this long. One of the things that I do want to share with you is my own character. Because I have been asked before, not like a whole lot, but just asked as far as like who I am and what I like. And I get those awesome and amazing Instagram challenges. I think that she's starting to get kind of tired. Don't get tired, Gloria. All right. But I do get asked different questions about what my personal interests are. So, and I love those challenges, and I love it whenever you guys send it to me and I'm able to answer it, because it allows me to be able to have some introspection about my interests and what's important to me and where I'm at on the spectrum of life, correct? So some things about me. My job, I'm an indie author. I'm also a playwright. So that's something that I have been doing for quite some time, and I enjoy it a whole lot. Of course, being able to dedicate the time to it is a little different now, considering the factor being that I am a mom of 10. But I have, I believe, 30 or 35 pieces of work out there that you guys can check out. Most of them are sold on Amazon. I have other books and pieces that I have available for purchase through me, but that's what I do. And for a portion of the time, I was having my plays being shown at the church that we were at, and also had won a contest for the Smoked Apple Theater Group, which is no longer existing, unfortunately, and they had did my play, The Afromaniac. I've done book tours, book signings, and just really enjoyed being able to expound on my writing and being able to, meet people who enjoyed the different pieces that were out there. So that's what I do for a living. Hobby. My hobby, I enjoy dolls, obviously. I enjoy writing. I enjoy art. I enjoy being able to paint and draw. I enjoy reading. And this may sound a little bit different, but I enjoy planning. I really do. It's something that I have always enjoyed. I remember as a kid, well, I say kid now, but back then I wasn't a kid. I was like, a young lady. I was a teenager, and I used to always plan my birthday parties. Like, that was really, really big for me, being able to plan that. I've always enjoyed being able to plan my day as well. And I still do that now, like creating my to-do list. I feel really off if I don't have a to-do list. In fact, my husband, if he sees me coming with a sheet of paper that says to do, he's like, yeah, this is going to be a good day. Because if I don't have a to-do list, I'm really frazzled. Like, I'm kind of like, oh, what's going on? But when I have a to-do list, I can kind of like check off things. It really helps me. And then I like planning events. I like being able to plan like whenever we're going to have like a family event, or planning what we're going to eat. And we're having, what was that, like Christmas party, and making the food and stuff, and planning out like how many days in advance to cook this. So that's always been important to me, and it does really help keep me balanced. It keeps me in a good place. So that's what I enjoy. Favorite color right now is orange. Is it going to change? Possibly. I do change. I change it a lot. I like a lot of fall colors. That's pretty much what I bounce between. It's like my reds and my brown and stuff. My husband laughed. but yeah, it's true. But yeah, I bounce between a lot of fall colors. And he's laughing because of what I said about the to-do list. Yeah. Favorite show right now is 90 Day Fiancé. It is, and I will honestly say my mother got me involved with the 90 Day Fiance. I never thought I would like that show. I was like, bull, and I'll admit I'm like kind of old school. My husband and I both are. It took me a little while to get into the reality TV show. I was like, oh, this isn't gonna last. I sound like an old person, but I was like, oh, this isn't gonna last. I am still shocked. Like a decade later, we're still watching reality TV shows and like really hooked into it. And not just us as a household, but us as a society. Like we love reality TV show. So a lot of what I like is like 90 Day Fiance. I like Chopped. I love cooking. That's my other hobby that I love. I need to write that down. I like I like to cook. That's really an important thing to me. It helps to keep me balanced. It gives me my therapy that I need. But I do like the show Chopped. I like Restaurant Impossible. That's one of those ones where Chef Irvine comes in and he's just like, this is despicable. Let's get to work. Like we all say that. We're like, let's get to work at the very beginning of the theme of the show, after the theme music rolls out, he says that. And you would be shocked how nasty some of these restaurants look. Like, it makes you not want to eat out. But I love it because it also incorporates construction, and that's like my husband's background. And then it incorporates interior designing and interior decorating, which is something that I totally admire, and we both do. And just us as a household, we just really get into that one. So Chopped, Restaurant Impossible. I thought of another one, and then I totally forgot what that is. It may come to me a little later. But those are like my top 3 shows that I like. So yeah. My favorite scents would be like lemon and food cooking. I like food cooking, good food cooking. So that's always like a real big turn on for me. Recently, my husband made some steak about 2 days ago. And, he was like, oh, well, I tried to make it like you did. And, I'm hoping I did good. They were better than what I made. Because I haven't used like soy sauce and all the other stuff, Worcestershire sauce in quite some time. Just basically because health reason, we want to make sure that we're, keeping things on a low sodium kind of level. And he used it, and I'm telling you, it was like so delicious, so tender. And then he put basil, and it was just like this sweet taste to it, and it was just amazing, and just like burst in your mouth. And I'm not going to tell you the other ingredients that he used, but it was amazing. It was amazing. So I love the smell of food. I could smell it up here. It smelled great. Beverage. What is my favorite beverage? Hot toddies. Hot toddies are one of my favorite. I like, and I know we're talking about like beverage, like juice and stuff. I like cranberry juice. I like bourbon whiskeys. I like, you may be shocked, I like Jaeger. I used to do Jaeger bombs back in the day. And I still, if in fact I'm able to enjoy it, because I'm pregnant so often. So when I'm pregnant, of course, I'm not doing any drinks. But if I'm able to enjoy it, after pregnancies and stuff, I like Jaeger, and I like me some cucumber water. My husband has turned me on to cucumber water. I used to kind of turn my nose up to it because it's such a different taste. But now it's gotten to the point where I'm like, I love it. Plus, on top of that, it helps me inflate milk-wise, so I'm producing more milk for the baby. So when I'm pumping, it's like he's getting full 8 ounces out of each breast, or at least close to. And I'm like, hey, this is great. And I'm sorry if I use that word. I don't know. I'm hoping I did not offend anybody, but it's just true. I am getting enough milk out of each one. And so it helps him, and I'm happy. Okay, he's happy, I'm happy. So I like cucumber water as well. But yeah, hot toddies are one of my most favorite. I don't have to have a sore throat for it. My favorite flower, sunflower. Sunflowers are one of my favorite. Always has been. One of the interesting things, I know I talk about my husband a lot, but that's my boo. One of the interesting things is that my husband calls me his sunflower. And he did not know at the time, when he called me his sunflower, that I like sunflowers. And a woman that I was very close to, and I considered her my aunt growing up, Aunt Priscilla, she used to, every time the sunflowers came in season, she would always give me a sunflower. Every time. From the time I was a kid, throughout high school. And unfortunately, she passed away, in my first year in college or second year in college, somewhere in there, somewhere in college or so. That's the deep thing about grief and passing. You can't always remember the exact date of someone's homegoing. But she would always think of me and always give me some flowers because she knew that was my favorite flower. So it was definitely a sweet note to life when my husband called me that. Fall is my favorite season. The question is, what is your favorite season? Fall. Always. That doesn't change. Fall is still my favorite because you have like, it's that nice balance of weather. Like it's warm and you get the breeze flowing through. I mean, it's just so awesome. I met my husband in fall. So it's like, you know, we celebrate 2 anniversaries. When we first met and as well as our wedding anniversary. We got married 5 months after we met. We just, you know, when you know, you know. He knew on the very first day. He asked me and I was like, no, I don't know you like that. But 5 months later, you know, a month into knowing each other, we got engaged. And then 5 months later, we got married. Almost 14 years later, we're looking at 10 kids, right? So it's been good. It's been good together. So fall is just, it's beautiful. I love fall. I've always loved fall. And I'm very blessed that, you know, God sent him to me. And I was sent to him during that particular season because it is my favorite. I love the colors of the leaves. I love crunching the leaves underneath my shoes. I remember as a kid, it was just like so perfect to me. It was just like, wow. It's like an automatic smile. I don't care what I had going on in my life. Fall was just beautiful. Favorite instruments would be drums, and in particular, to be more specific, the hi-hats. Any song that I hear, and this is just reality, any song that I hear that has hi-hats, I could be like just sitting up there chilling. All of a sudden, it's like it just gets sunk in. I mean, I just get sunk in. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm in it, right? It could be my first time hearing it. It could be like one of my old songs that I enjoy. I love hi-hats. My husband was the one who actually told me that it was hi-hats I was hearing. I was just like bopping to it, and I was like, yeah, I like it, and didn't really know that was what it was called. So they're hi-hats. Favorite food: a tender steak sandwich, nicely seasoned. Yes. Sushi, in particular, cooked eel. I really like cooked eel. Other sushi I enjoy as well, but cooked eel is just my favorite. Pasta. Almost anything pasta. Lasagna, spaghetti, and what is it? Garlic and oil spaghetti, angel hair pasta, Alfredo. I like red sauce, I like white sauce. I love pasta. Pasta's good. Wheat pasta, vegetable pasta. I don't care. I like pasta. So yeah, I love pasta. A good old burger and fries is also really good too. Nice and tender. Like when you bite into it, it's just like that little juice that drips down. Don't be on a first date with it because you may be like, you know, trying to like pat up your mouth. But it's good. It's so good. So good old burger, steak fries. I like steak fries. And then sometimes though, crazy thing is I like shoestring fries. So they're total opposites. But just depending on how I feel, you know what I mean? That's like the one I want. Like dipping it into that ketchup. Oh my God. So good. So good. All right. Now, my favorite holiday would have to be Thanksgiving. I do enjoy Thanksgiving. Actually, I enjoy Thanksgiving more so than Christmas. Christmas, I always feel like is so like, I think because it happens right, like almost directly after Thanksgiving. So I'm still trying to get over Thanksgiving. And then it's crunched between this whole new year. So it's just, I feel so like overstimulated. It makes me overworked. It really does. And now, especially as a parent and, you know, Santa Claus and all that stuff. Oh my God. It's like, oh, and you know, I loved Christmas as a kid. I think every kid loves it. And then when you get older and you have the different responsibilities, it's like, oh, this just feels so close to, hey, how are you, life and Dalton? It just feels so close behind Thanksgiving. But I love Thanksgiving. It's a time of the year to be grateful. And I love being able to cook for Thanksgiving. I cook for Christmas as well. But like I said, after cooking so massively for Thanksgiving, it's just like I'm worn out by Christmas. I'm so worn out. And then boom. Hey, beautiful to you too. And then boom, you have New Year's. And it's just, I can't do it. It's just too much. So I love me some Thanksgiving. I love some Valentine's Day. I didn't used to. I grew up in a single parent home where, my mom really wasn't big on things on Valentine's Day. In fact, I know she's on here. And you used to bash Valentine's Day. You're like, it's a made up commercial love day. And that was kind of my thought too at first. I was like, oh, it's just so commercialized and people don't really have love like that. And, I have my own love. And so life is different now. And so I enjoy Valentine's Day. I mean, we don't even have to exchange presents. It's just being able to mark that time in history together. You know what I mean? But then the awesome thing about it, the next holiday that I enjoy is right next to it. And that would be my wedding anniversary. So it makes Valentine's Day just that much sweeter. It's like, man, we have Valentine's Day. Then we, a few days later, boom, it's our wedding anniversary. So I love it. I love it. So those are just like my favorite times. And for snack, my favorite snack, oddly enough, would be like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I don't know if those count as a snack, but I do like it. And I also like s'mores. And I'm going to write that down. Like I told you, these things, when you guys send this stuff to me, it helps me to explore myself intrinsically and be like, what do I like? I like s'mores. And I don't really know if that counts as a snack, but for me it is. Now, back in the day, this is a little story time for you. We used to do some real dangerous stuff, my mom and I. Mom used to be like my best friend growing up, for real. It was just me and her. And we used to do s'mores in the house. I didn't realize how dangerous that was until now. And we would literally grill our marshmallow on that stove, smack it on the cracker with your chocolate. And sometimes we would put peanut butter on it. I don't know if that was like a top secret or not, but I just told. But we put that peanut butter and that chocolate right there. And, squish your other graham cracker on there and pull it out. And now you got your wonderful s'more in there to bite into. It was delicious. It was awesome. But now I look back, I'm like, that was dangerous. That was so dangerous. But it was such a good treat. Like, I want one right now. But it's raining outside, so I'm not going to be able to do that. And I'm not going to do no dangerous stuff in front of my kids because they take stuff to a whole nother level. They'll take that and go, woo, with it. Yeah, I know, right? It tastes so good. I want some. So those are my favorite snacks, and that's pretty much the characteristic of me. If you have your own things that you'd like to share, you are more than welcome to write down whatever your favorite snacks are, colors, your favorite season, your favorite food, your favorite smells. You can write that down at the very bottom of this post as well. I'm going to open this up for about 60 seconds or 120 seconds, which is 2 minutes of questions or comments. If you have any questions right now, then you can definitely put it on here, post it on here. You can go ahead and do that. I'll leave that open for you guys. And like I said, this is Gloria and Audrey, her best friends. You can definitely check out more on Sacred Pair Storyline to learn more about their friendship and their relationship that they have and how far back that they go. And you will be seeing more of Audrey this year, especially in I'm already planning for 2020. 2022. That's why you heard me say earlier, 2022, I want to be able to develop her storyline more. Because although we're only in August, I just want to go ahead and keep things fresh in my mind for what 2022 has. Are you a book coach also? Funny that you would say that. I am actually a certified coach. And I am a certified coach for Law of Attraction. I am a coach as well when it comes to postpartum. Because that was the phase of postpartum. And what that is as far as how it relates to us on a mental health level. What it relates to us as a physical health level as well. So I would love to, if you have any questions about coaching, you can DM me. And I don't have a problem at all being able to respond to you on that. But yes, I am actually a certified Law of Attraction coach. So I can always, talk to you and, we can, go from there as far as what that whole package is like. Are you still making holiday wreaths? Good question. I'm so glad that you asked that. It is so crazy because just yesterday I was making some wreaths. You can ask my husband. I would grab them, but I would have to be off screen for a little while to get it. I'll grab it. I'll be right back. All right. So, yes, I was making some wreaths just yesterday. So, yeah, and you should say yay because I don't want to bust everything. You and your prophetic gift right there. That's actually for you. That was actually for you. So yes, I do still make wreaths, and I will be getting back into that more. I kind of had to take a little break, so I hope you like these. But I had to take a little break on account of everything going on with my pregnancy and just really not having the energy. And after being with the kids the whole time and then homeschooling, I just didn't have the same kind of energy. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. To be able to make my wreaths. So I will be going back into that. I'm glad you like it. You said it was beautiful. Hello, how are you, Michelle Hewlett? And I will definitely be, going with the seasons and the holidays to be able to execute those wreaths. Yes. And I need some time to heal. So I'm slowly going back in there. I love your wreaths. Wow. Thank you so much. I'll show it again. Like I said, you and your prophetic gift. How did you know? So yeah, that's going to Life and Doldom. But yeah, so just going to be taking my time back in there. And when I do have those ready, I'll post it on Instagram so you guys can see it first. And I generally sell those on Etsy. So I do have an Etsy page. It's a Sacred Para page. It does not have the underscore. It's just one word together, Sacred Para Etsy shop. So you can check out what's left on that page. And I put on there the wreaths. And if I'm selling any, Barbies or something of that nature, like an unboxed Barbie, I usually will put that on there as well. So anything else that you guys would like to ask? I hope that you guys enjoyed this live. I enjoyed being with you guys. And of course, like I said, Gloria and her co-host Audrey enjoyed being here too. I do want to put a little bit of a tip out there for people that I learned the hard way. Oh, thank you, my little Kirby World. She said, love her wreaths. Thank you so much. And she has showcased, a lot of the different wreaths on her door and on your window. So I thank you for that, as well as a few other people in this Dostagram community have just amazingly showcased the wreaths, and I appreciate it so much. But I've learned the hard way as a tip not to store my dolls with their clothes on. So I just want to tell you that because I had to remove some marks from Audrey, and it was really due to her, it's not skin. That's why I'm like, but her plastic touching clothes. And, after a while, especially heat building up, then you have a marker print on the skin, on the plastic of the doll, on the shell of the doll. Although it doesn't really feel like a shell because they have their own lives. But, it leaves a mark, especially on your lighter complexion dolls. It leaves a mark. And so I've been experiencing that, and I don't like it. I talked about it before in a previous live before with Julie B. Barbies, and check that one out because she gave so many awesome tips as far as how you can protect your dolls, and that's one of the things that I learned. Yes, so here lately I've just been storing my dolls naked. Oh, you learned it the hard way too. Thank you for the tip. Yeah, I have learned it the hard way, and I literally just got done putting some acne cream on Kai. I was so upset. I was like, this is it. I'm taking off everybody's clothes. So everybody's being stored right now nude because I'm like, I'm going to protect my babies. They can't be having all these little marks on them and stuff. I strip all my dolls. That's what my little my froggy stuff said. My froggy stuff said I strip all my dolls. And that's what I'm learning. That's what I had to learn the hard way. So this week, or this past week, or still Sunday marks a whole new week. So this week I had to take all the clothes off my dolls in order to store them so they won't me touching each other, or just having the clothes themselves touch on them and then marking them up. It's so crazy. It is so crazy. I didn't know that, and I'm learning, learning along the path of what needs to happen to keep my dolls safe. I want to keep them safe. So yeah, so that's just a little tip out there. Thank you, my Froggy Stuff, for also commenting on that as well. But if you don't have anything else to say, or if you want to comment or question, go ahead and do it now. Or if you want to join, if you have anything that you want to share about storyline content development, we're all ears. Like I said, I'm always learning from everyone that I talk to. Anyone who I've done a live from, or a live with, I have learned from. So let me say that again. Anyone I've done a live with, I've learned from. I'm huge on learning. I believe that as long as we are breathing, we have space to learn. And we have space to learn from each other. That's how we develop. That's how we mature. That's how we become who we are. If you ever get to a place where you feel entitled, as I just heard an awesome message from Bishop recently speak. It was Bishop T.D. Jakes. And whenever we get to a level of just feeling like entitled, where we don't have to learn from each other, that's literally when we have experienced death. Like, we may not be in the grave, but when we get to a point we can't learn from each other, that's not life. Living is learning from each other. So, like I said, if you have something that you want to share, then go ahead, as long as it pertains to storyline content development, and I'll give you 60 seconds. We got some awesome content people on here. Everyone who's on here, I've pretty much seen your content, and so I'm like, hey, if you have something that you want to share from your own personal storyline, I am open to you joining on my live in order to talk about that. And I'm going to take a little sip right here in order to clear my throat. And because all this talking right here, I usually don't like to drink when I'm on, during my lives, but I don't want my throat going out on me either. So just try to keep my palate and my throat lubricated. Wise advice. Yes. It's important for us to learn from each other. And my little Kirby world, because you always give a shout out to me, but every Friday she has the Build With Me IG Lives, and it's at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out her page, and she's teaching you how to be able to build from things that you have around you in your house. Right next to you. You don't even have to go out to the store. You just look around and you be like, oh, I got cardboard right here. Oh, I got a hot glue gun. Okay. Scissors. Okay, I can do this. And she breaks it down in such a simple way to where, you're able to do it and you feel confident to do it. So check out her lives every Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And she encourages you to build with her. Build while you're watching it. My Froggy Stuff, of course, you have lives on Wednesdays, and I believe you have them on Friday or Saturday. So my Froggy Stuff, check out her lives as well. And we're looking at anyone else. If you have lives, you are more than welcome to talk about that as well. I thank you guys for being on here with me. I've had such a blast with you as far as talking about how to generate your ideas, how to be able to write a storyline that you feel comfortable with, that's going to help you as far as growing and being able to have the therapy that you need to have through your play, and being able to get to know a little bit about myself and the projects that I have that's here right now that you can get involved with, such as the journal and the planner and the character origins journal that is all available on Amazon, or you can purchase it directly from me. And like I said, I want to be able to encourage you guys to know that anyone can write, just like one of my favorite artists, Bob Ross, said, anyone can paint. Like I told you guys so many times, even during this live, I have warm childhood memories from watching him. I have my children watch Bob Ross because he's so amazing. He's so amazing. And if you want to feel confident as an artist, watch him. He is amazing. Thank you, Sacred Pair. Oh, Life in Dahlem. Life in Dahlem. Her photos are amazing. Her storyline is amazing. I mean, I love everyone's storyline. If you want, I could compliment and talk about each one of you, okay, and what you do. We got Jazzy and Juicy with My Little Kirby World. We got Life in Dahlem and Margot and what she goes through in the events of her life and how she's able to take those photos. I am still tripping. Life and Dawn and I did 2 IG lives together. I did an IG live together with my little curvy girl. So if you want to go back and check that out and hear what they said, do it. But Life and Dawn, she has photos of when Margot gave birth. And when she gave birth, you know, you see the water break. And she had this water birth. It was just like, that's what really hooked me in with her page. I was like, oh my God. And then from there, like, we've developed this amazing relationship. And then it's the same thing with my little curvy girl. I was like, oh my God, like, I love how you're showcasing Black love, and you're showcasing your dolls and who they are and what they enjoy to be, and embracing the curviness of who they are. Because, you know, as females, our figure changes. I mean, male and female, our figure changes. But as females, I believe that we sometimes have a harder time embracing ourselves still when our body changes. You know, it's easier for us to shame ourselves for being curvaceous. And I enjoy that her page encourages you to love on yourself and to embrace your curves. So that's what her page does. But like I said, you go through and you look at the journey of Margot and her husband Don and what they've gone through and how they're able to overcome those things. And even right now, oh my goodness, the character Jolene, that's all I have to say. Look at her storyline. You are going to be very entertained by what she has on there. My little curvy, I mean, my Froggy place. There's so many mice. I'm like, I got my mice mixed in. My Froggy stuff, of course, you have your YouTube page. And so you have the different characters and their storylines that you have developed, and how they're able to interact with each other. And then you have your scripts that you do for those stories. And then, of course, you have your mini-me in this Instagram world and her storyline that she has each day. I enjoyed the one that you had today as far as her wanting to sleep in. Who wanted to sleep in today? Now, I'm about to end this live, but I'm telling you, today was the day that I was like, oh, I want to sleep in. I really did. We had about 3 nights where we went to bed at like 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, serving food real late. And, you know, a lot of it has to do with, you know, trying to get used to, you know, getting reacclimated to school year. And it was just like, wow, I really want to sleep in today. Did that happen? No, exactly. She said me. Yeah, I wanted to sleep in. So when I read the post that my Froggy stuff had today about, you know, I'm just going to sleep in today. And then her daughter's like, hey, you ready to go ahead and go take me to go horseback riding? I was like, yeah, I feel you. You know, we've been had the horseback riding going on, but yeah, I totally feel you. The struggle is real. My Froggy stuff said the struggle is real. It's so true. The struggle is real. It's like I'm wanting to stay in, but when you're, you know, when you're a mom, it changes. You know, when you have other responsibilities, life changes. It's not always going to be the scenario that you want. And then the 360 it, you can put that with your dolls, which she amazingly did today with her posts, and very often, all the time with your posts. But just in particular with today's post, you know, when we look at that, being able to take a real life situation and then have your dolls model it, and then having us be like, yeah, that's me too. Wanted to sleep in, but couldn't do it. Had other responsibilities needed to take care of, and the struggle is real. So I thank you guys again for being with me today, spending your Saturday with me. I don't know if it's raining where you're at. It's raining where I'm at. So this was just an enjoyable way to be able to, you know, pass that time. And even if it wasn't raining, it could have been perfect weather. There's no other place I want to be than with you guys. So I thank you guys again. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And I will be back next week. I have an amazing guest with me that I'm like, I'm so excited to be able to share that time with, and to talk about storyline content development and talk about fashion. What? Fashion. My mom is a fashion designer, and when growing up, you know, she had fashion shows and stuff, and she's a seamstress, and so she used to have all these fashion shows, and that's what I grew up around, especially in Detroit, where I'm born at, and then I was raised here. And so, you know, she still was sewing and so forth. And she didn't have as many fashion shows here, but nonetheless, that's really what I grew up around. So I still have this admiration, this love for fashion. And for a small portion of time, I wanted to do sewing as well. And I still sew. I still, you know, like I sew my doll stuff. I'll sew some of my kids' doll clothes as well. Sew up, you know, broken stuffed animals, sew pillows, I crochet. That's my other thing I like to do as a hobby. I just now remembered, I'm like, I love to crochet. I used to give people crochet stuff all the time. This was awesome. I could listen all day. Oh, bless you. Thank you, my froggy stuff. Oh my God, that's so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. That made me smile. I appreciate that. But next week I am going to be meeting with someone who is in fashion, and you have to just stay connected to my page so you can see the virtual flyer that I'm going to send out, so you can see who it is, because I'm not going to give it away yet. But I am so excited to be able to have this live with her. I'm always excited to have a live with anyone. Like I said, I learn from everyone I'm with. So happy Saturday to you guys. You guys stay safe. I love you, family. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.